Right, here we go. Got 1 minute 22 seconds until the big reveal. Gameplay premiere. Cannot wait. Move the mic closer. Most likely going to start off with the trailer. Apparently this trailer's epic. It's going to blow people's minds. And I don't know if it's just me, it's just quiet. I think that's better. At least this streams in 1080, not like the other one in 900p. There we go. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This is an MP.
Contact 3 o'clock!
Take fire! Recon out! Contact!
Rifle 1-1 on approach. Multiple targets sighted. Raining fire.
Javelin. Was that nuke? Was that the tactical nuke? What it looked like to me.
Pre-order and get early access to the open beta.
Open beta, early access starts, was it September 12th?
Hello everyone and welcome to the Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer gameplay premiere. I will be your host, Clint Maven Evans, and joining me for this spectacular day, Benson Bo, buddy, that trailer. Wow.
Wow. There was so much action in that trailer. I'm sure this is the first time I've actually got to watch the whole thing. That is awesome. And I'm not sure if you caught it right at the very end, the card, open beta as well. I'm so excited. We've obviously played it a little bit, but now we get to actually jump in and play so much. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, our lives are going to cease to exist for a good amount of time during that beta for sure. And then also one of the things to hit, like the beta is coming, and there's been talk of crossplay coming into this, but that's actually going to be available for the beta, Ben.
I can't wait for that. You're going to have console to console, console to PC, everything right at your fingertips for open beta. I couldn't be more excited.
This is going to be incredible. Now, Ben and I are going to be breaking down a lot of the action today, but we're going to have a lot of people in here with us going through it all. And to kind of start it off, we've got some of the members from the Infinity Ward team. We've got Jeffrey Smith. We've got Joe Seacott. Gentlemen, how you doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Coming on.
I'm excited. Thank you so much. This is gonna be awesome. So I want to kind of, before we get into the gameplay, and we've got a lot of stuff to bring you, I kind of want to get into the basics of the philosophies behind Modern Warfare. So obviously this was a tough task, right? You're going with one of the most famous FPS games in the history of video games, and you guys are reimagining it. Jeff, how difficult was that just to get started?
Yeah, it was a big thing to get over your head. So just as single player, I kind of thought of it as a reimagining. We took it as kind of this mental exercise of thinking of it as making a whole new game and kind of stripping stuff down and really questioning everything. But we really had this phrase called fresh but familiar. How much stuff do you take from previous games, and how much stuff do you make all new, right? And if you go with the old stuff, it's just going to feel like a remastered maybe. But if you just make new stuff, you're not going to have that DNA and the nostalgia that fans have.
I will say the Modern Warfare name, to many Call of Duty fans, I mean, that's a historic one, right? Is there any pressure internally when you decided that this was going to be the name of the game where you're like, that's a lot to live up for?
Yeah, there was a lot of anxiety early on.
Little pressure?
Small amount, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
We've done it.
You've done it. I've played
not a lot of sleep, I'm sure, in the ramp up to this.
Yeah.
It's finally time. And one of the big things that you'll note as well from the trailer, boots on the ground, a phrase which means a lot to Call of Duty fans.
Yeah, I mean, we set out to make a legitimate military shooter right from day one, but we also wanted it to be fun, right? Our game's still really fluid. You can still slide and shoot. Our mantle is super fast. Like, the game just feels really good to play. We're really happy with how it turned out.
Love that.
And this is, you mentioned, not being a remaster. This is a reimagined experience.
Yes.
Jeff, can you kind of talk to me about what that entails, reimagining this for a new generation of gamers?
Well, it's like I said, you're taking old stuff, you're taking new stuff, and you could maybe say this is like a love letter to Modern Warfare.
I like that.
We've sampled stuff from all the different past games. We kind of put little Easter eggs in, and from systems to map stuff to weapons. We really try to cover all the kind of favorite stuff.
Well, how difficult of a balancing act, I guess, is that? Pleasing fans that maybe grew up with this. It was their childhood favorite game in which they put thousands of hours in. Yeah. And then the new generation, which maybe isn't as familiar with the title and trying to appeal to the new gamers. It's got to be tough, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of a line we had to toe as we were making this. Is it infinite sprint? Is it cooldown sprint? Is it how far does the slide?
You probably have a million little conversations like that.
So many little things, and how do you kind of know where you're gonna go? So.
Yeah. One of the keys for me is the map design, right? That's something that you kind of touched on a little bit there, but from my experience playing, you've done such a good job of having the close quarter fights, but as well, if you're a fan of sniping, you can still have those long range fights. How hard has that been, just getting the maps themselves?
That's going to let Jeff handle that one.
He's the map guy.
Well, it's tricky. I think, we always make maps that we try to support every playstyle. We have all these guns, and we want to make sure that there's a place for snipers, there's a place for close quarters. But in recent games, the titles have been more kind of arena shooter-ish. So you can kind of rely on these kind of symmetrical 3-lane maps. But when we're trying to make a realistic environment, and you take that realistic environment and you put it on this kind of symmetrical layout, the brain just kind of rejects it and doesn't really feel real. So for us, it's more about freestanding buildings, kind of, and the power positions that those create. And this actually kind of is very similar to how real military moves through places. They take a key location, and it's usually on a crossroad, and it has these sight lines that gives them an advantage. So that's how we it's kind of the backbone to all these maps, and it's really the way TDM actually would work well because there's no really objective. But once that guy on a third story, pops you, you have a goal in life. You want to go get him, and so we've really built a lot of mechanics around those freestanding buildings.
Secret TDM right there. Yeah. and do you think, I guess, with this kind of the way you've been looking to design these maps, a lot of talk about the variety of gameplay you're trying to bring to this experience of Modern Warfare. Has that allowed you to reach kind of new heights when you just speak to variety of gunfights, a variety of action within these maps?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can even look at our maps from a scale standpoint, where we have the gunfight maps, and then we go all the way up to larger player scales. So you're going to be playing 20v20 today in one of our battle maps.
Holy hell!
Yeah, and then and then we have a bunch of new mechanics in there, but we also have new ways to play. Right? We have the night vision gameplay you saw in the trailer, and that's just a completely different way to engage with Call of Duty. Right? Everyone has night vision goggles. They have infrared lasers that they aim with, but anyone else in a night vision goggle set in nods can see that laser, and so you have this cat and mouse gameplay, and we've had a bunch of things in the game that really freshen up the Call of Duty experience.
I'm kind of curious just from the developer standpoint, because as fans and viewers, you don't see it as much, and we don't either from like your brains, but when you have a franchise that's been along as long as Call of Duty, and it feels like you've tried so many different things, what's the process like to try and find those new tidbits where you can still surprise people?
It's really interesting at the beginning. I have that feeling at the end of each game where I'm like, okay, we put everything into this. What the hell do we do next?
Yeah,
man.
What do you do next?
But we draw. I mean, this game we had the opportunity to draw from real military and things that they would do, and that is where like the night vision gameplay stuff came from, and the doors and things like that. We have a big, I guess, a suite of functionality for doors and how you interact with them that really changes up the flow. And you think about it, it's just a door.
But I also think that, when you have a franchise that's been around this long, you got to have so much features and mechanics up in the attic. That was the kind of point of us trying to strip stuff down and really question the stuff that we were putting into it. So every single thing we put into the game, we really looked at, analyzed, tried to make better, or make a better version of that stuff, just to kind of force us to get away from preconceived notions of what Modern Warfare is or Call of Duty is, and just spark new ideas.
And we had a goal with every change we made. We talked about we wanted to add more depth and replayability to each firefight, and that's kind of how we look at each change that we put into the game.
That makes sense. And obviously, when you have a franchise that's been around for so long, you have fan favorite weapons, I'm sure, and it's maybe some new weapons. And that's the one thing from the trailer and playing. There's a lot of variety, a lot of unique different weapons in the game.
Yeah, we have a bunch of classic guns. We have a bunch of new ones, like standard issue guns that the military is using now, and that's how we stay relatable, modern, authentic. And we'll dig into it in a little bit with the gunsmith stuff, but we also stripped our weapon systems down completely, how we do recoil, how we do bullet travel through the world, and to add more
Real
depth.
projectiles?
Yeah, we added projectiles to our guns. And we did it in a way that in close quarters it still feels like Call of Duty, feels really tight. But then when we have our big battle maps and you have these long-range engagements, there's this new layer of depth of do I have to lead my target a little bit? What caliber weapon am I using? Is it going to penetrate this surface? And so we feel like we've really elevated Modern Warfare.
Well, when it comes to the weapons, and one of the key things I think with any Call of Duty title is kind of the progression, right? As you unlock different attachments, whatever it might be. How is this going to work? Because one of the things that's been highlighted a lot has been how it all kind of works together, right? This unified progression. Joe, can you speak to that within Modern Warfare?
Yeah, I mean, we really wanted to, what was the saying that our creative director said?
Continuity
and consistency was one, right? We wanted, the guns that we were using in the campaign to feel just like they did in multiplayer and in Spec Ops. And then when you're talking about progression, we didn't want, people to be like, I'm a Spec Ops player, or I'm a multiplayer, MP player, or I'm a campaign player. We wanted you to be a Modern Warfare player. And so when you're playing with your weapons in Spec Ops and you're actually progressing through Gunsmith and unlocking attachments, that correlates or translates right back over into
That's very cool.
multiplayer.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. I like that a lot. And it's worth mentioning, one thing that we found out yesterday, there's no season pass this year. How is that going to work?
It's going to work great.
It's going to be awesome.
I like that. Well, that's the big thing, right? Everybody, in previous games, you've kind of gotten the map pack here, and he's gotten the other one.
Right,
everybody just starts kind of deviating. We want to keep everybody together. We want that content to be there for everybody, and continue it on through seasons as we go.
And when you say that for everyone, you mean free?
Yeah.
It's completely free. Free content.
Yes.
I like that.
Free
for everyone.
Free for everybody. That is awesome. No, that is fantastic to hear. But no, it's been fantastic. You guys aren't off the hook quite yet. It's been great kind of diving into the high-level philosophies of stuff, but to kind of show more of the in-game and how stuff's going to play out, we want to get into creative class. I'm going to introduce Ashton Williams. She's going to be with us from Infinity Ward as well. Ashton, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm super. I am doing absolutely fantastic today. I'm very excited for a glorious day at Modern Warfare.
I mean, I'm surrounded by streamers. I got Doc to my right over here.
Hey,
We're
Doc.
showing multiplayer.
You've got Courage close to you, though, and he's one of the loudest human beings on the planet, so I'm hoping that you're going to be able to get through. Hey, Jack, what's up, buddy? Who thought it was a good idea to put him up front? I thought he'd be like in the back pocket, like out deep.
We're going to hear him all through there. But Ashton, I want to get to business. Obviously, the creator class system, the operators, I think that's the first thing you have to decide, right?
Yes, I mean, the operators are purely to make you feel like a badass when you get into the game. So when you first load up, you'll see we've got back to the factions. So we've got the Coalition, respectively, on the west and the Allegiance on the east. And so you can kind of see my default kind of strike team here. And as you go in and actually select your operator, you can get a little. And this, I mean, obviously we have some stuff locked here, but I'm gonna roll.
Now that guy looks like a badass.
D-Day.
They all look pretty badass. I like Zane personally.
Yeah. So my two favorites, Zane.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he's got a tactical poncho.
Is that what that's called?
That's yeah. Before I get yelled at by Joel, it's not a cape.
It's not a cape.
It's not a cape.
Not a cape. Tactical poncho. But moving forward from operators, the actual creator class system. This is where things get really, really interesting to me because the first thing to note, pick 10 is no more.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, we
no
wanted to
pick
keep
10.
it simple, you know. And as Jeff said, we wanted to kind of move our complexity into gunsmith and keep the front like if you want to have a tactical, you always have a tactical. You always have a lethal. You're always ready for
There's a
that.
chat.
Yeah, we're just trying to pick where the complexity is,
Yeah.
and so we're not asking too much of the player. And we want them to kind of really dig into the weapon and focus on that. So.
Well, where a lot of the customizable options comes
That'd be
is
good
the
for you.
gunsmith, and Ashton's going to hop in there for us. So this is new, and this is wild, and this is awesome. Can you guys kind of talk to me about what is special and very cool about the new gunsmith feature?
Well, I mean, early on, we really kind of decided that, or realized that your weapon is the main character in MP, and it's what you use to interact with our world. And so we kind of just put all our chips in on this system. We had to convince the studio of this crazy endeavor, and we're averaging 30 to 60 attachments per weapon.
Yeah.
The 30 is on the pistols. It's a little harder to scrape by with some with all these attachments, but you just use the weapon and they unlock.
And to clarify, for example, if you were to pick the AK-47, right, you can change that. Like, for example, you take the stock away, all of a sudden you have the AK-74U.
Actually, you can do a caliber change, short barrel, and get the AK-74U, and then you can actually do a drum mag, long barrel, muzzle brake, like ACOG, and make more of an RPD. Like you can really the guns are really flexible.
Well, Ashton, what have you been building over there? What's your go-to?
I mean, I'm an AK player, or an AR player. I mean, we do have an AK on here. So I'm just making kind of a newbie class.
Ashton, jump to that pistol that you have on that loadout, and then go into gunsmith and then toggle it so we can rotate it around.
Oh, there it is.
This is the sexy shot.
Yeah.
And one thing as well that I'm not sure if people at home actually caught, but you actually have perks on the guns as well now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's kind of we kind of wanted a little get out of jail free card where we didn't have to put a physical attachment on everything, but you'll find a lot of fire select stuff in there, caliber changes. And
Yeah, things that we don't want to make something up, right? Like here's this knob on the side of the gun and it does this. So we wanted to have some things that were functional that weren't represented, but everything else, all the other slots, every piece is there, and we actually built all of the functionality based on real life, how it would affect the gun.
I feel like I'm going to be like Tony Stark at Destiny. The stuff that it looks like I'm going to be able to do with this, like just endless hours of customizing and finding the best setup, what you really like to use. It's sensational stuff. But I do want to chat then a little bit kind of about tacticals and lethals. So you mentioned when it was going away from the pick 10, one of the core things you wanted here was to make sure you had that lethal and tactical. We'll start off in the lethal side of things. It looks like mostly fan favorites from the overall series.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Thermite's a new one. Yeah, the Thermite's a good one because we have vehicles in the play space, right? You saw in the trailer we have that light tank, and like the Thermite's great. It's a fun tool. Throws kind of like a throwing knife.
That looked painful.
And it sticks, but it burns right through vehicles, so it's a great counter to that.
Try to land one on a chopper that flies by.
Yeah.
You said that with a smile, like you've done that.
You can.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And then moving forward towards tacticals, I know you have a fan favorite one here. It's what the snapshot grenade. How do you even come up with this idea of a snapshot grenade?
This was a funny story. It's actually my son got a toy. It was like a little disco ball with a stick and two blades, and it actually will sense the ground and not land, so it just kind of floats there. I actually the next morning ran and kind of snuck in and did a tactical door breaching. I threw it into Joel's office, freaked him out, and said, "Hey, let's do this." And so it actually actually goes in, it flies up, and kind of takes a snapshot of the room.
Okay.
And does thermal imaging.
Yeah.
And this is kind of an evolution of the concussion grenade giving you those hit markers.
Yeah.
So it just gives you that quick read.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And then what do we have as well? Let's talk about the perks. So perks are obviously back in the game. You talked about perks on weapons. This will be more of your standard perks. And double time, one of the new ones, because there's some changes right to the sprint options within Modern Warfare, correct?
Yeah. So what double time does, there is a big change. Double time, early on we were like, do we do unlimited sprint? Do we do sprint with a cooldown? And in the end, we ended up with unlimited sprint. Feels good. It's user friendly. But we still wanted that kind of like tactical boost, that way to get from one piece of cover to another really, really fast. And so we added a thing called tactical sprint.
Okay.
And if you're moving forward and you click the stick twice, your gun actually comes up to signify that you're not engaging in combat. You're just sprinting. It allows you to move really fast for a short amount of time. And then
It's a risk reward, right?
It's actually the oh shit button.
Yeah.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta
Just
go.
run away. But kind of moving forward from perks, the thing that excites me the most, kill streaks.
Yes.
They have returned
Yes.
for Modern Warfare, and there's a whole different host of them here, and some of them very, very exciting. Of course, the Juggernaut we saw in the trailer.
Yes.
That is badass. And I think you guys in rehearsal were telling me that there's like music that plays as well when you're in the Juggernaut suit?
Yeah, so when you get the Juggernaut suit, you hear metal music in your
that's
ears,
just cool.
and it's just like,
That's just
it's
cool.
such a fun kill streak. It's just your moment to just be like, F you, everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's part of why I love that kill streaks are back. Like, when I get on COD, I want to go in, I want to dominate. It's about me dropping stats, dropping numbers, earning streaks, and this is one that'll be fun.
There's actually a funny thing. This actually plays in 3D space, so it'll sound like somebody's listening to like music out of headphones.
Yeah.
So you actually
that's
be able
cool.
to hear like the music coming out.
That's so cool. I love that. And then the other one as well that we wanted to touch on was we saw it again in the trailer. Is like the tank.
Yeah, the light tank, the IAV. And this was another thing we pushed for to get kill streaks into the play space, and this is a cooperative kill streak. So one player mans the tank and the main cannon, and another player's up on top manning the 50 cal.
Okay, so you need
and some of our bigger maps you can play
these
this.
These are only on some of the maps, and if you have it equipped, then we on a smaller map we'll swap you out with a smaller one we call the Wheelson.
Yeah.
That one's really scary.
I like the big one the best.
Yeah.
And the trailer that did some serious work in it.
You like to go big, Ben?
Absolutely, of course, maybe you know that.
Oh, I'm going to dominate on this game. I've got a feeling. That is going to be so fun. But all right, it's been very cool to have Ashton kind of showing us through the actual setup of it, but I'd love to actually hop into a game if we could and talk through some of the action, some of the new features within the actual game. I believe we're going to be hopping into headquarters is what we're going to start things off with.
Returns!
Yes,
You
it
brought
does.
headquarters back!
Yeah.
Well, with all this work in the kind of freestanding
play.
buildings, and we'll talk about it in some mechanics. We have all these doors and stuff. Being able to defend a interior space gives us that kind of Black Hawk Down, last man standing, because with headquarters, of course, the defending team doesn't respawn. So it's down to we show you how many are left, and it gets really high tension.
Before we dive too much into the new tactics and elements in the game, can we just talk about how goddamn beautiful it is? I mean, the big push before this, it's a new engine, right? Can you kind of talk me through what goes into that? Like, what is going to stand out to the new player that gets Modern Warfare?
I mean, we use a new technique called photogrammetry, and what we do is a lot of the art in our game is actually scanned, 3D scanned from real-world objects. We go like our.
You keep bringing me closer to Tony Stark stuff every time you go one of these things.
It's crazy. The whole process has changed, right? Like artists would sit in a room and they'd art a character, but now we have whole, I guess, wardrobes that people wear, and like people drive along the road and they find like a burnout car and they're like, "We found it. This is awesome. Come here, bring it for us."
Yeah,
that's so
seriously,
cool.
Yeah, we'll take gear and we'll actually throw it in a pool for a while, so it gets like worn and beat up, and then we'll scan it so it looks more grounded and real.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of that did it go into, we touched on a little bit earlier, like the realistic environments. Was that part of the process as well, or how did you guys get in to make these look so realistic and so awesome?
Yeah, it's actually scanning real world things. We scanned old burnt out cars, these little rubble piles, and we kind of have to work that in. And it was actually a big task for the art department to kind of have
I bet
this
it was,
new workflow.
Hey, we got all these pictures. You guys are now have to create all of this.
Yeah. So that took a little while for us to kind of get up and kind of used to that system and really get rolling.
Game looks, as maybe said, absolutely beautiful.
Oh, Ashton, come on.
One of the things I do want to
Ashton, your job's on the line here, just FYI.
Way to put pressure on her here, Maven.
Well, I'm just letting her know she won't have a job anymore.
On the fly modifications, you can, I believe, what is it? When you die, you can actually go to where you're picking your class and modify things, and right there and then.
Yep, you can edit
In the game.
all in game. And
There we go, Ashton.
It will it will actually swap out next time you die.
Okay.
You can swap out any weapons. Early on, we were kind of unlocking attachments really fast.
Right,
And we
right.
found it really fun to just unlock a new attachment, put it on, and go.
I was going to ask where that came from, kind of that idea, like where that started.
It was just we ramped up the earn rate on attachments, and we just kind of wanted to test it in game, and it just was this kind of cool, like I can hot swap things out.
It feels like there's just like a weapon playground now, like between the gunsmiths and the game. Like it's nuts.
Well, one thing we didn't mention when we were going through the creative classes is field orders. And I saw Ashton actually got the field orders.
Field upgrades.
Field upgrades. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about what they are and how you came to bringing that into the game?
Sure. Go.
Yeah, so we like the idea of a reward that players got kind of regularly, but we didn't want it to be like this kind of like I win button. Like, okay, it's super weapon clock.
I got this.
And
So I win now.
We looked for things that would help players support their team for the most part. It's not true for everything, but we have like the tactical cover. We have the trophy system. The tactical cover you can actually mount on with our new mount mechanic. So you can mount on the top of cover. The side gives you a significant recoil bonus. And then we actually, at the beginning of the game, we let you have one field upgrade, right? And you start working through them, and you have that field upgrade, you get to use it. And then at the end, we unlocked a pro functionality for that lets you bring in 2. And so in the moment, in the match, you get to choose between these 2. And so you might have an offensive field upgrade, like say a scout drone that goes up and actually scouts for your team to scout an objective, or you might have a trophy system. And so in the moment, you're like, I'm in headquarters. Am I defending a point or assaulting a point? Let me choose.
It gives you that variation dependent on what's happening.
Yeah, and tactical insertion has returned.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's also on a cooldown in there. There's a bunch of different stuff. Funny little trick. If your buddy, and this takes teamwork, if your buddy puts out a recon drone, you can throw C4 on it.
Stop.
Yeah.
You can finish the rest of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Put 2 and 2 together.
No, that sounds epic. And
we have to get our chemistry.
Oh no! What's going to happen is I'm going to put the C4 on, and then you're going to fly it into me.
Probably, and then we're both going to die.
Well, can we talk about some of
We'll
the maybe new combat mechanics that are going to be within this? There's different stuff you talked about. I kind of want to talk about the doors a little bit because I remember the first time when I was first hearing about it, because I hit up. I think I was talking to somebody at Infinity Ward. I'm like, "Can you tell me like some of the new stuff to the game?" He just looks at me and goes, "Doors." And I was like, "What? What?" He's just like, "Doors." And I was like, "All right." But there is a very new feature that's very interesting and provides some kind of wild circumstances within gunfights. Can you talk to me about the changes to doors within Modern Warfare?
Yeah, so early on we put doors in, right, and let players kind of like pause a firefight. We're like, that's kind of cool, but they felt really, really basic. So we started to layer in kind of this experience, these new features. So we have a peek mechanic to let you saw it in the trailer, open a door slightly, throw a tactical in, and then you can melee the door, go in and clear them out. And then we did some breaching, and we're like, okay, what if explosives just open doors? So players can either throw C4, clacker the door open, or they can cook a grenade. And then we had a bunch of players, whining about like, it's affecting the flow of the map. Like, this isn't how the map was built. And so we actually allow you to sprint through doors. So we have this kind of like suite of functionality around doors.
So you can be sneaky, or you can just be loud.
Yeah,
yes,
well,
exactly.
It's actually funny on this map on SD. One of the bomb sites is in this apartment building around the corner, and you can actually stack guys up on a double door. You can put a sniper pretty far back.
Okay.
And either they can do it, or you can throw the nade from across the map, and the concussion will open the doors. You can snipe the guy that's probably going to be camping in the back, and everybody can kind of go in, and it's really fun.
I like that a lot. And of course, we saw Ashton doing a little bit of weapon mounting as well.
Yeah.
But it's really kind of more specific. It isn't necessarily just like leaning.
Yeah, we didn't want the kind of like head glitchy kind of scenarios you get from like a lean anywhere mechanic, right? We didn't want those sliver shots. And so, but we really like the idea of bracing your weapon on surfaces. I mean, we talk to soldiers, that's what they do. You're carrying a big heavy gun, you want to stabilize that gun, or
sure.
Getting tired.
Those guns are actually they're pretty heavy.
So, no, there's a perfect example.
There, thank you.
Well,
Ashton, you're on point. Thank you, Ashton.
You've been on point. You're going to get to keep your job. You've been good enough that
I hope so.
I've been impressed with what you've been able to do, but thank you so much for walking us through the creative class, showing us some of the combat mechanics during the game. Thank you for coming out. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming through.
One more thing we should also point out that is for development for the past 2 years, we've always had this outline around squad mates, and it actually was broken in this build. But it's really important for our teammate awareness, of spatial awareness of where they are. That didn't make this build, but we'll be putting out some 4K footage of gameplay after. It'll be in there. It'll also be in the beta. So,
like that a lot.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you coming in, kind of talking high level about some of the great mechanics within Modern Warfare. Anything you want to say, maybe to your coworkers, fans, before you head out?
Yeah, we would like to say that we're lucky enough to be the ones up here kind of presenting this game, but there's a whole studio of people that really put their heart and soul into this game, and it really means a lot to us. So thanks for checking it out, and hopefully everybody has a good time.
Honestly, thank you for joining us as well. The game we played, it's fantastic. Looks brilliant as well. You've done a really good job. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Joe, Jeff, thanks a lot. But, guys, before we get further into the show, we have a lot more to show you. Upcoming, we are going to show you the Dark Edition coming for Modern Warfare. Let's take a look.
Night vision.
Joel, you're my favorite person.
It's in the throat. I feel so first.
Hello and welcome back. How awesome do we look?
I'm going to be honest.
Ben, how awesome do we look?
These are actual night vision goggles, and I need everyone at home to realize.
When I was a kid,
these are the real thing. These work.
I wanted for Christmas for years of my life to have night vision goggles, and now
These are amazing.
thank you so much to Joel Emsley, who
All
has
your
joined
dreams
us.
can come true now.
I have wanted these since a child, and you have made this a reality. I am so
You never have to be
excited.
afraid of the dark unless your enemies have these.
I just, Joel, I need you to realize I'm taking this home with me. I
Okay.
need you to-
Or
is that okay with you?
We'll be all right.
I don't care if it is okay with you. I'm putting one of they're coming with me.
They look great on you guys. It's a great accessory.
Does I look badass?
It puts the entire ensemble together.
How did
You look tactical.
You don't typically see somebody in a button down in night vision. Now you have.
You have to dress it up a little bit, dude.
Well, you talk to me a little bit about your role at Infinity War with the upcoming Modern Warfare.
Yeah, I'm the studio art director, and long ago when we did Modern Warfare 2, we did night vision goggles, and that was like almost 10 years ago. So when we went back to reimagine Modern Warfare, we knew that night vision was going to play a big role, and we decided to go after this again and see what we could do now. 10 years later, the tech is just crazy. These things are incredibly functional. We designed them to be our own part of our own universe. The labels on here are from a manufacturer that exists in the Modern Warfare universe. It's like a XRK it's a weapons manufacturer that does optics and stuff and gunsmiths. So it all ties together. We put it in the game. You see them wearing. Captain Price is actually wearing these. They're all over the place. And then we took them into the real world and made them work.
Because obviously the night versions of the maps, that's where these actually come into play, and that's what you're seeing here. I'm just so impressed that you actually managed to make these. How did that process even begin?
What?
How do you even say, all right, we're gonna make night vision goggles? Yep, that's what we're gonna do. How does it start?
It was fun. I mean, you start with an idea, and Nick Levisis is the designer at Infinity War. Came up with a design, modeled them out, handed them off to that was the design phase for the physical. And then we actually handed off to Jeremy Thurman, one of our artists, and he actually took that version and put it in the game. So it kind of went two ways, went into the universe of the game, and it went out into the real world. So
Because we should say that the Dark Edition, you get
you
actually get.
Just talk about what's in there.
We were doing rehearsals yesterday, and like
Yeah.
we're in it, and like we're going through the script, and I'm like, we're talking a lot about these night vision goggles. I'm like, these are so cool, but like, what does this come into play for the Dark Edition? Then you're like, oh, you get them. And I was like, what?
Yeah, there's a whole basically almost a collector's edition.
Look at this! Like, this has got to be
great stuff.
This has got to be the coolest edition of a game ever. It comes with night vision goggles.
And I want to point out that
there's a history in here too.
I was about to say that
Characters,
the operators, if I'm not mistaken, the all gillied up pack and even all of them, that's some old school operators right there.
We went back in the archives. The original ghillie suit was made by Emilio Cuesta. And I phoned him up and I said, do you have the ghillie suit that you made for Call of Duty 4? And he says, yeah, I got it. I'm like, can you send it to us?
Oh, that is so cool.
Let's put that in the game. And then the Crew Expendable, All Gillied Up, and Warpig are they're all pulled from Call of Duty 4. All the original props, we went into the warehouses and got that stuff going. So it's pretty cool to bring them into this game.
That is absolutely
yeah. No, I think pretty cool is putting it lightly. This is one of the more awesome things I've seen. I'm not kidding. This is coming with me, and I'm going to wear it
now
everywhere.
You can hunt varmints in your backyard.
I'm going to show. I'm just going to walk up to like a McDonald's drive-through with this on my head. Like, I'll take 2 double cheeseburgers.
Yeah, and for safety, they fit on tactical helmets and all that good stuff. So they're pretty versatile, and they work great. They have a short range and a long range setting.
That's incredible.
Automatically, we'll switch to night vision. It'll pick up light, all that good stuff.
Well, and you saw at the bottom of your screen for just a moment there, but you can pre-order now at CallOfDuty.com. So if you want to get the Dark Edition, if you want to have night vision goggles and be as cool as Ben and I just were, you can do it.
I can't wait.
CallOfDuty.com.
Stealing these or permanently borrowing, Joel. Hopefully that's good.
Yeah, I think you can get away with it. If you run fast after this, those guys won't care.
I'm not very fast. I am not very fast. So this is awesome. This is very cool to see in the Dark Edition. Obviously amazing. Thank you so much for the insight on what went into kind of bringing these into the game and into the Dark Edition. But thank you, Joel, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Very cool. Thank you for designing these. And I do, as we say farewell to Joe, I kind of want to recap what we've been discussing. In case you're just joining us, let's go through sort of a quick rundown of everything we've just seen and discussed so far. So if you didn't see the trailer, you got to check it out immediately on YouTube. Also, for the multiplayer open beta, that is coming later this year, this fall. It's going to have crossplay. It's going to be incredible. Ben, we're going to spend a lot of time in the open beta.
I can't wait. And as you mentioned, crossplay for the open beta, that is going to be fantastic. We also talked a little bit about Gunsmith, all kinds of customizable weapons, as well as a ton of new maps.
And there's going to be an ongoing stream of free updates, so no more DLC, free content following the launch this fall, which I think everybody is very pleased about. That's awesome to see out of Infinity Ward in the next upcoming title for Call of Duty. And then the Dark Edition, which we just showed you. It comes with a set of night vision goggles, which we have in front of us. Look at these puppies. Pre-orders are live. You can get hooked up at CallOfDuty.com. But we're moments away from the gameplay. So what this is all about, obviously, we wanted to have some time with the developers talking about the game and everything we're excited about and kind of where their thought process was behind the development of this. But we have, 36 streamers here from across the world.
Yes.
That they're going to be throwing down on Modern Warfare.
Yes, our close friends who I personally can't wait to roast. Yep. But, I mean, it's going to be insane. We talked a little bit about crossplay, obviously, and we'll see that. We'll see that as well. A couple of guys playing on PC, a couple of guys playing on console.
But first up, how we're going to show it off is going to be 6v6 gameplay. So we're going to see 4 new maps in a variety of modes, along with a special night version of one of those maps. Later, we're going to ramp things up with a couple of rounds of 10 versus 10, and the ramping up ain't stopping. How do you feel about 20 versus 20? It is going down. We'll get into a couple rounds of serious team deathmatch on the large scale with 20v20, and we'll wrap it all up by showing off the gunfight mode with a bit of friendly competition in a 2v2 exhibition bracket. So yes, it's friendly. These guys, they know each other, respect each other, but to wrap up the stream, they're going to be going at it, Ben.
It's going to be spicy. You guys are going to want to be right here on the Call of Duty channel, where we're going to be cherry picking the most awesome gameplay from all of our 36 streams. You're going to see the best of all the action right here. Trust me, this is the place to be.
It absolutely is. But before we get into that gameplay, the final bit of business I do want to get to is on a more serious note. The gameplay is incredibly important, but we would like to introduce you to a vital and inspiring charity that's helped veterans secure a high-quality job after their military service, and that is the Call of Duty Endowment. We're finding a high-paying, fulfilling job once they leave the service. It's a huge challenge for vets and their families. The Call of Duty Endowment has funded the placement. Ben, it's been more than 60,000 veterans since it was funded in 2009.
Yeah, it's a lot, and their current goal is getting 100,000 veterans back to work by 2024, and it can only happen if the Call of Duty community helps as well.
And every dollar you donate to the Call of Duty Endowment goes towards helping vets in both the U.S. and the U.K., Ben.
Yep, that's also very, very important. And now you have to love it. This dollar, every single dollar, 100% of your donations goes directly to endowment grantees. Everything directly to them.
And this is a tangible way to say thank you to our servicemen and women for their service. You can find more ways to help out at callofdutyendowment.org/help and follow them on Instagram at Call of Duty Endowment. But it's a fantastic cause. If you can be involved, please do. Yeah. But this is how the Call of Duty Endowment works, by getting our vets to work. Let's take a closer look at this amazing organization and their mission.
access to the open beta.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the official launch of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We're showing off multiplayer for the first time, and Ben, so far it has been wondrous.
Oh, it's been great. It's been great. Obviously, speaking to the developers is massive, gives us some insight, maybe some extra tips and tricks that hopefully some of our streamers have taken note of, because we're going to be critiquing their gameplay from now on.
Yeah, so this is where we get into the big chunk of the show. This is where we're going to have all these streamers out here playing the game. We're going to hop to various modes, and to join us to kind of break down the action, talk through the gameplay, we've got Joey Merc DeLuca and Anthony Nameless Wheeler. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling amazing. I mean, we're here at the multiplayer reveal. It's new Call of Duty. It's the most exciting part of the year for me. I love it.
This is, yeah, I'm with Ben. Like, it's cool to, as much as I'm excited to see the players play, it's really cool to hear from the developers kind of there. Because it's hard, man. Like, when we're talking with them, it's like you've been making these games for so many years, like finding the new things, the way to change things up, the new maps, the new guns. It was really cool to hear the insight from Joe and Jeff. But I got to feel for you guys. You got a little bit of hands-on with the game, but are you guys pumped to kind of see these guys give it a shot?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great players here. I can't wait to see how all the gun plays out, right? There's just so many new features that we're going to see here today, and I just can't wait to see it live in action. It's going to be a ton of fun.
So I'm mostly excited to see the fails. I'm going to be.
That, well, honestly, yeah, we love a good fail every now and then. Yeah, Maven's mishaps, right? That's what they called it.
I have a lot of those because am I the worst player on this desk?
Oh, probably. Maybe Ben.
What? Disrespect me like that.
I had to throw you under the bus.
Wow. But now we're going to see a wide array of maps. We're going to see a lot of different modes throughout the course of this. And basically, it's 36 streamers, and we'll kind of be hopping from POV to POV. So obviously, we're not going to be able to capture every single moment, but we're going to show off the best of the best. And like we said earlier, it's going to kind of end in that bracket play, which should be interesting.
I think we all have a idea of who the best players here are going to be, and they're the ones that we're probably going to spend the majority of our time watching.
True. Is there anyone that stands out?
Shroud, instantly.
Has to be Shroud.
Yeah.
Man.
He's just so good.
Also, we got Courage. We got Courage here. Want to give Courage some love.
I think Teep as well. Obviously, you know, Teep, a former professional Call of Duty player. We're gonna be, you know, seeing how he does in the 2 versus 2.
Well, it's not just gonna be us. So we're gonna be on the desk, kind of breaking down the action and talking through things. We've also got a couple folks with us to talk to the players and go through it. First up, it's gonna be our pal Christine Leahy. How you doing?
I'm good, Maven. How are you?
I have a lot of energy, which is a problem sometimes, but I'm doing well.
Energy is never a bad thing. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm really excited to meet you, Kitty Plays. I haven't met you yet. I see you're having a lot of conversations. You're talking a lot with your fans right now on your stream. What are you most excited about that you saw so far?
I think I'm excited for the noob tube to be back. That was one of my favorite guns that I played with in the past in like middle and high school, so it's definitely a nice thing to have to get those easy eliminations, and I'm looking forward to using it today.
We were just talking, actually. You play with a lot of celebrities, a lot of traditional sports athletes. Who has been the best player you faced off against in Call of Duty?
In Call of Duty? Oh, I'm not sure. I haven't played a lot of celebrities in Call of Duty yet. It's been in other games, but...
well, we got to get them on it. Who would you want to play in Call of Duty?
I think I would like to play against Baker Mayfield because I know he's a big COD, Halo, Fortnite fan, so I'd love to play against him in this game.
Got to get him over to Call of Duty. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to see you play.
I'm excited to play. Thank you.
Maven, back to you.
Thank you so much, Christine. And Joe, you're a Browns fan, right?
I tell you what, I woke up today feeling dangerous. I love that answer. Baker Mayfield, come on down, because let me tell you, I would love to play some COD with you.
Well, it's probably been fun. You know, you've got decades of failure, and now this is your year.
Yeah, people always ask me what's it like to wake up on Sundays, and I don't know. Well, this year, you know, to see what all the excitement is about. But yeah, I mean, Baker, if you want to ever get carried in some COD, I'm your guy. I got you.
I'm not your guy, but I'll play with you. I'll be dual carried. But no, it's not only going to be Christine. We also have America's next top fitness model. We've got from the CWL is Douglas Sintzer Martin. How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing well, Clint. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. But
that's great, man. That's awesome, man.
I feel bad for you because you got Jack down there, don't you?
No, listen, man. I'm with the one and only ConorGamingzHD right now. So, Courage, you've never played Call of Duty multiplayer before. You played the 2v2. You've never played this multiplayer yet. I know you're not a competitor. I know you're a streamer full time. You're an entertainer. But this is a big deal. This is the multiplayer reveal. I know you want to put on a show. What are your expectations?
Doug, I have one of the highest earnings in the last Call of Duty game. If you check esportsearnings.com, I am absolutely a competitor, first off. Second, I'm ready to scream and get loud and have more people on Reddit saying, oh, I don't play COD. But guess what? I've been playing since Call of Duty 3, and I'm going to show you the best classes you can have today. Look at this. In the creator classes, you can put 5 attachments per weapon. Do you hear that right now?
5 attachments.
I have AR class. I have SMG class. I have a precision rifle, like a marksman type rifle. I have a run and gun AR, and then I have a sniper SMG overkill quick swap class so that I can be the Pomage I want to be on the inside, but the Scumpy on the outside.
I just have one thing to say. I just literally 2 minutes ago, Jack was just helping out Doc over here with his settings. I don't know what he was doing. Something tells me that Jack has something up his sleeve. Clint, we're going to roll it back to you now.
I want to point out, Clint, before you take that, I actually helped Jack out with all of his classes.
Yeah, he had no idea what he was talking about.
No idea.
Wait, so all that bragging he just did about his classes, you did that?
So he looked at me and was like, what do I use? I was like, don't worry, Jack. We're friends. I got you.
I mean, we got to play a little bit yesterday.
Right,
you know,
right.
we got a couple of secrets, and it looked like you were helping him out.
Little tips and
He
tricks.
had no idea what he was talking about.
Not as well.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's going to be us 4, and we're going to have Christine and Sensor also helping us out. So thanks, guys. They'll be kind of getting feedback, chatting with the players over the course of the day. But it's time to get into it. I want to get into the gameplay. It's going to be the 6v6 gameplay we're going to be hopping into. I'm excited for this because what we went to 5v5 this year, we're now back to 6v6. I believe we're going to be starting out, it's going to be runner domination. So I'm sure most people are familiar with domination, but just at the basic level, Joe, talk to me about domination.
Yeah, domination, 3 flags, A, B, and C. You get points by capturing those flags. The more flags you have, the more points you get, and well, you win the game by having all those flags and getting all of those points. So yeah, I mean, everybody knows domination, but you want to get as many flags as possible.
Well, hopefully shortly here, the guys will be loaded up, and we've got a lobby full. We've got a ton of different games going on. I think we're going to be hopping kind of pod to pod to just show off different players throughout the course of this. Jack is just slugging energy drinks right now, hyping himself up. Jack, what are you saying now?
He's just screaming.
Jack just loves you.
Whoever did the seating chart needs to be fired immediately.
Yeah, he's too close to us right now.
Get him and Legion just tossed in the back. It's got to be tough, too, for him because he's sitting next to Doc, who is just basically better than him in every way. Doc's, what, like 6'8"?
He's also way taller than him.
Lean muscle.
Way taller. Handsome.
Yeah, Jack's looking like Frodo-esque next to him at the desk. Well, at least they're even sitting down, though, he's got 12 inches on him.
He's incredibly more talented.
This shouldn't be the roast of Jack.
Oh, you're
okay?
right. You're right.
Jack's a fantastic player, but let's get to the action, right? That's what everyone is here for. Let's see some multiplayer 6v6 domination. I think the map they said was going to be runner. This is a map that we had a brief little bit of games on, not one we're
going to run a couple maps, yeah.
But a couple of maps. It seems pretty good, Joe.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah, I mean, there's some doors I know that the devs were talking about that you can interact with, a couple of different buildings with, you know, again, it's not your typical 3-lane map that we're sort of used to these last couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see the way the players sort of move on the map.
Well, kind of hearing the philosophy from a lot of the developers about those power positions. Would you have, Nameless, would you have one big tip? With the game slowing down, with it being power position focused, from your heyday back with Modern Warfare, what would you recommend to a new player?
Yeah, I mean, it's just when you get to those power positions, just try to check every single angle, right? Like, you got to slow down in a game like this because those ARs are very powerful. So when you get to those power positions, just try to check every single angle and don't focus in so much on one spot.
I love that we're starting off with Shroud as well, by the way.
That's who I mean, if we can just watch Shroud all day, I'm cool with it. That does not bother me at all. The guy, you know he's going to put on a show.
No, seriously, if I had 3 wishes and everyone says like superpowers, being rich, being famous, I just want to be able to play games like Shroud for 24 hours.
Just one day.
That's one of your wishes?
Yes.
Not even just for 24 hours.
Yeah, well, okay, well, I guess you're right. That's a really dumb wish because I guess I could just do it forever, couldn't I, Joe?
Yeah, you could.
Well, we'll check out the actions. He's, I think, just trying to get through his loadouts, trying to get his sensitivity all square. As the guys were just getting set up here as we were going through stuff with Joe and Jeff from Infinity Ward, but the game just looks so good, man. It was awesome hearing them kind of talk about the engines, everything that's been added to this from a lighting standpoint, from, what was it called, photography?
Sounds right.
You remember? I know, what was the word? Oh, I butchered the hell out of that. Photogrammy?
We'll go with that.
Okay, I don't think that's right either.
Either way, it's insane, right?
I'm not the best with words, man.
Taking pictures of pretty much everything and putting it into the game. That's absolutely incredible. I'm pretty sure I saw TP as well.
TP's in this lobby.
He's on the other team, so we'll keep our eyes out for a team. But Shroud finally started to heat up. He started off with a sniper rifle, adjusted his settings, said, nah, it's not for me. Let me change things out, and obviously now running the assault rifle.
Yeah, he's got the M4 in hand, and I know you and I were having a lot of fun with this M4.
Yes.
I mean, a Call of Duty classic, right? Just such a good assault rifle at any range that you want to use it. And I mean, we were talking about the benchmark, all the different attachments that you can have. Shroud's got a couple on here.
TP just killed Shroud. That's now the highlight of TP's career.
And what's cool is when I saw Shroud enter that building, there was a ledge there, and it gave him the option to mount his weapon. So now you can mount your AR, and it'll reduce that recoil, and you can kind of just lock down one lane with your AR mounted. So it's kind of a new thing they added to COD that we've never really seen before on your main AR that you can do.
I think that's going to stress really good tactical and lethal use. If you've got a solid player set up in a power position like that, it's going to be bananas to deal with.
And of course, let's not forget, at any point you can, hit start, go to your classes, and customize it in the game. So if there's, a certain player in a certain power position you want to try and get rid of, well, you can very quickly, if you wanted to, for example, put a sniper scope on an assault rifle, turn it to single fire, and bang, right there, you still have your favorite gun.
There's just so much customization in this game, and I'm a big AR guy, especially in Modern Warfare games. I love using assault rifles, and to change something like an M4 into a burst gun, I just think it's so amazing and awesome that you have that ability.
Well, I think one of the big things that everyone continues to talk about, there's going to be different power positions, and how do you get those players out of their power positions? And maybe one weapon with one customization doesn't work, but you continue to make those changes. So we'll see how the players continue to work on it. We'll see what adjustments they're making.
I think, Ben, you were pointing to me that, what was this, streak earned by Skadoodle?
Skadoodle, he's already earned himself one streak. He has the Juggernaut selected, hasn't earned that yet. I am curious to see if anyone today actually earns that, because I know, Joe, your first game, you sat down, and I was like, oh, I get to be on Joe's team. Juggernaut first game. I was like,
Noah J just destroyed Skadoodle.
Well, and I'm actually excited to see Sky when he pulls out that sniper, right? I mean, he has the nickname American Sniper for a reason, has the AK right now, but we know when this guy gets a scope in his hands, he's gonna make some plays.
A couple more streaks available as well. So things starting to heat up. Here is Jericho. Of course, he's picking up a couple kills. And again, I do want to reiterate, cross-platform. Even here at the multiplayer reveal, a couple guys going to be on PC, a couple guys on console.
So we just saw something cool out of Jericho. He just changed his gun to full auto as he was entering that room. Unfortunately, he doesn't get that kill, but I like the idea of going into close quarters combat and switching to the full auto and try to spray him down.
Well, the game just flipped on its head a little bit. They had a 3-cap there for a moment, which really allowed them to push out a massive lead, but quickly the red team get back in control, but we'll stick with Jericho's POV. I want to see if these streaks start to come into play. But Jericho, obviously, he has been a long-standing community member in Call of Duty since really the dawn of time, Ben.
Oh, yeah. He's been playing for a very, very long time. Of course, a fantastic content creator as well. It's always good to see him and see what he can try and bring to the table here. But you can see okay. Jericho, I'll try to gas you up. Come on, man.
That's an MP7, man, right? You run into those doorways. You see that MP7 submachine gun.
Well, you were the guy kind of running the gun because we were playing yesterday with it was 10 of us, and I'm mostly an AR guy because I'm slow, and you were flying around smoking me. Is that what it was, the MP7 you were using?
MP5.
It was MP5. Okay.
Yeah, I think the MP5 is the weapon I had most fun with. I'll give you guys some tips before the beta starts in September. But yeah, the MP5, another Call of Duty classic.
Look at you keeping him close to your chest.
Man, just saying.
What was the burst gun that you obliterated me with a couple times?
It was when he was.
I thought I got sniped, man. I just got ripped off the map.
It's the class I told Jack to put on. So when we get to one of Jack's games, I'll kind of talk you through it. But there's a couple of weapons which I've kind of tested out because naturally, you get your hands on a new Call of Duty for the first time. Like when the open beta comes out, you're going to try everything, right? Because you want to get the biggest advantage as quickly as you possibly can. There's a couple of guns where I think, come open beta, going to be pretty powerful.
Yeah, and talking about that MP5 that Joe is using, I remember I made a class after he destroyed me with it, and I just put every single attachment on my gun that would make me move faster. Yep. And it just felt amazing on the map being able to move so quick with that submachine gun.
That's a choice as well, but we didn't really touch on it when we were talking about the kind of customization that you can go through. But there's a lot of pros and cons to pretty much everything. If you're going to get, for example, a little bit of help with vertical recoil, you're going to give something else up. Maybe it's ADS time, maybe it's movement speed.
When I was
looking, pros and cons to everything.
I think it's something. I think he said it in rehearsals yesterday. But I was talking to Jeff at Infinity Ward, he said, you know, he's like a big MMO, like an RPG fan. He likes skill trees and all the stuff that goes into it. So it's kind of what they were thinking of with Gunsmith. You always have that kind of give or take with certain armor pieces that you would use in other games. And yeah, I was going through it, and I was looking at the different stocks and different foregraphs. I'm like, all right, well, if I do this, I have to, okay, so I sprint slower, but I zoom in faster. And if I do this, I was going through it. I thought it's awesome, just the amount of potential there is for variety.
Well, we're just so used to, like, you know, what does a grip do, right? It reduces recoil, lets you aim in a little bit quicker. But as you say, there's different stocks now that might help you, you know, zoom in a little bit quicker, but it'll slow you down. There's all these different options. It'll just be so fun when this game releases at beta, like how players want to play with each weapon.
Yeah, there was like a stock, and it's like if you want to reduce idle sway, like you're going to be slower, and it just makes a lot of sense. And you know, I enjoyed sort of the aspect of just creating my class and trying to figure out if I want to be fast with this gun or if I want to slow down. Like, when I'm using the M4, am I going to be in a power position? Okay, so on this map, that's what I'm going to make.
And again, I think one of the keys, just to kind of reiterate, is you're going to come into those situations in a game, right? You create your class and you think, oh, I wish I'd, you know, could maybe be a little bit quicker. Change it in the game. It's as simple as just hit and start.
You have to be quick. You have to be quick with that.
Well, yeah, but either way, you know, if you know what you want to change, it's, you know, relatively simple to do so.
TP's going off right now. Did you guys see that?
So what are his stats?
17 and 5 from TP.
I just can't play with Nameless again. The guy started out 9-0 yesterday. How many times did we hear about it throughout the course of the night?
We talk about
it's because you were attacking me, so I had to. you kept killing me.
I think, Clint, one thing you can sort of, from your own personal experience with TP, he's 17 and 5. As TP, what is he doing?
I'm a full-time commentator for the Call of Duty World League, but on the side, I am TP's full-time bait.
Right.
And he's a completely selfish player, and he's likely allowing the other 5 members to run in front of him as he picks up the kills. And
I'm going to be honest.
What's funny about that? He spent his entire career being a bait player. So when he stopped playing, he's like, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to have some fun. So he just baits you every day now, and I can't blame him.
Yeah, he was the guy sprinting in first for a decade. He deserves a little time to dominate. But not surprised to see TP doing well, since he is one of the greatest Call of Duty players of all time.
Absolutely.
Call of Duty World Champion.
Jack, why are you looking at me and not the screen, dude? You getting smoked?
He doesn't know what you're saying.
He looks frustrated.
I think he knew what you were saying.
He has no idea.
No, I think he's hungry. What's the score? 157, 124.
Yeah, this is a very close game.
Tight one early.
This is good.
Have you guys seen any guns like that maybe you didn't try out yesterday and we got to play that have blown you away?
This one, MP7, right, I was actually very curious. I think I tried it for like one life and didn't like it, but low recoil, but a submachine gun, you're very quick with it. And speaking of TP, until he gets that field upgrade, if he wants to use it, but just protect and see, he knows that they're very close from winning this game.
T just kind of going back to his inner competitive self.
Always.
Oh, look at his face, dude. He is dialed in.
See how
well, that's what. So I think for some of these guys, so we had what a lot of the YouTubers that came in the other day to get content and play the game again. So for some of the streamers, I think it's their first time hands-on. So if you see them earn some streaks, maybe some field upgrades, and not bring them into play yet, I think they're all kind of learning. It's just their first time through. So I'm sure we'll see a lot more. Now we'll see. I think a cruise missile just got earned. Almost smokes another one, but Skadoodle.
One thing we haven't seen yet are the eliminations. Right, the execution style stuff that you can do. We didn't see it earlier on. I'm curious to see if maybe we get that at any point.
It's embarrassing. Somebody's got to do it. Wait, Myth is on a 5 streak. That's just what popped up at the top right.
I think so.
Oh yeah, Myth. He's right in front of me. He is. Look how fast his fingers are moving. This guy's turned.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody's hands move that quick.
Doug's behind him, just having a great time watching him.
Doug's like mind blown.
I'm mind blown.
That's
what
crazy.
This is a shotgun.
Skadoodle shuts him down. Close game, 185, 147. Be coming to an end relatively soon, but for the most part, it looks as if the blue team should be able to secure the W.
I wonder if he's going to call these streaks in. He's got that cruise missile.
Oh, Myth just called it a cluster strike, so somebody's probably about to get pounded.
There he goes. Didn't actually kill anyone.
Okay, so I take it back. No one was actually hit. What were they talking about? I believe, again, I think this was talked about yesterday when you and I were just sitting down with the devs, but some of the kill streaks that are in, right, you have to actually have a line of sight to use them. So it's not like, think of like our current game where you have the Hellstorm, you have the Lightning Strike, you can just pull that in wherever you want. Some of the kill streaks now, you have to have line of sight on enemy to actually use them.
Huh. Yeah, that was
so I think it's interesting because you need to get to that, like, power position. It's not. You're not able to call it off spawn. You have to get to like a good angle.
Yeah, basically have like a laser target that you need to just kind of put your laser out and be like, all right, this is where I want to drop my.
Ooh, team. All right, team. I think you got a hit marker there.
That's round. Oh, it is team. Oh,
Oh, it is. He knows. He knows. All right, Mr. Polchow.
I think Stroud also had the same gun, and he missed his shot. And Teep said, "You know what? I'm taking you down."
Call of Duty World Champion.
Close game, man.
It's not like the Tiger Woods right there.
Oh, we are going to be having some fun. That is just one of our mini matches that are going to come here today. And so far, I think we're all just excited. I mean, for us, I know we just want to get hands-on with it. We have to wait for the open beta coming in, September? But, Ben.
I can't wait. You made a joke at the very beginning. You're like, yeah, we're probably going to be no life in the beta.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is exactly what I'm
going to play 20v20.
Is this our squad?
That's
we're
later
going to see it, I think,
that's
right before the 2v2.
I can't wait to watch 20v20.
I mean, that's the most we've ever had, right?
Yeah. Ground War was previously what? It was 18, I think it maxed out at. I mean, now we have 20v20. I mean, that's...
I don't even know what to expect from that.
If you get streaks in a 20v20 game mode, oh my lord.
You got like a 7-man cruise.
I'm just imagining the kill feed right now. Squads just locking down different lanes.
You get a chopper gunner. Imagine the kill feed. It'd be insane.
All right. Well, before we get into more action, we're gonna have more matches to come. I believe we do have Sensor on the floor with an interview. Douglas, take it away, pal.
Hey, thanks, Clint. So, I'm standing here right now with Myth, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, no pun intended. I'm watching him play this game for the first time. You started off a little bit slow. You started popping off at the end.
Yeah.
What are your first initial thoughts on this game?
It's a lot of fun. I think that so the class that I created, I could already see how the dynamics you could create for yourself with choosing different things. And so like my class was very much run and gun. I had the stim as well, so I was able to sort of just heal myself on the go if I got shot, and that allowed for a lot of just really good aggression. And as I got into the swing of it, like later into the game, I was like, okay, I know the rhythm. I'm ready to attack.
Yeah, you were getting more excited. At first, you're like, oh no, I'm not playing well. Oh no, guys, don't make fun of me. Like, I know there's a lot of pressure. But no, you started getting the rhythm into it. You started playing really well. You got a world champion on your team, carrying you guys to the win. I just wanted to know, like, I'm jealous, man. I want to be on the floor right now playing this game, and I'm sitting here watching you, so I'm living through you right now. You played well. You guys got the first win. I want to bring it back to the desk, back to Clint.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think we were watching, like, Stroud or Teep's POV, and I saw Myth pop up at the 5-shooter. I saw him before this. I was like, if you put a lot of time into cutting the pass, he's like, yeah, I'm going to fry. I was like, oh, okay, all right. And,
well, at least he's confident.
Yeah, no, he absolutely was.
I love that.
We've got an interview with Sensor, and then I think our next one, I believe we have Christine Leahy, and she's going to be with TP. Now, Christine, I need you to ask TP right away. I play with him every single day. Can you ask him what it's like to play with someone such as myself?
Oh, God. What it's like to play with you?
Yes.
Well, let me ask him. TP, what is it like to play with Maven? Maven wants me to ask you this question.
Playing with Maven has really fine-tuned me into the player that I am today. Playing with him, it makes my life a lot more difficult. So if you really want to get better at Call of Duty in general, or probably any game, play with that bald man over there.
Oh, that was really sweet. I was expecting some trash talking, but that was really nice. Because
I love you.
We just came from Sensor, who I know has a really sore spot, you know, because of you. You beat him in 2014.
Right.
So there was that.
I mean, Doug's a great guy, great player, but, you know, I got a lot of chips on the guy, so. A lot of championships in COD, so.
There's the trash talking I was looking for. It looked like you guys were having a lot of fun with this one. You had an awesome game. Why was that?
Honestly, I just kind of figured out how the domination spawns pretty quickly on that map. When I got the UAV, the main map was up. I knew exactly where people were going, and I was just kind of shooting a lot of people in the back and in the side and stuff. And then when it came to like my weapon selections, I read through a lot of the attachments to see what kind of play style I wanted to go for. So I think I had the edge there.
I got to ask you too, you're one of the best Call of Duty players out there. What do you think of the new game?
It's amazing so far. This build feels extremely smooth. I'm having a blast. That first map we played was a lot of fun. And man, that sniper rifle was feeling pretty good there, or the marksman rifle actually. So I'm having a good time.
All right, Maven, back to you.
Thank you so much. More action. So we got one 6v6 in. I thought TP was gonna cook my ass. I thought he was gonna roast me to no end.
Oh, he was okay.
It was pretty. He just went off.
I mean, you're his trainer, right? Like you're the reason he's in the shape that he is, right?
Yeah.
That's what
if only I could help him in the coaching department. But we're gonna. I'm kidding. It was just a joke. We are gonna continue moving through. That was one of our. I believe we're doing 4 6v6 games. So that was just one. We have a ton more action to come. Are we hopping through various maps? You guys can see some of the different looks. So I think one of the most important things to players, whether you're coming from a competitive background, pub background, It's the maps, right? Like, you have fan favorites from the past. You always have high expectations coming into the next game. So I think it's really cool to showcase some of these different maps, Ben.
I think the key is as well, from what the guys at the studio were saying, is they're just a little bit different. The way they've been created this year is more kind of based off the realism.
Yeah, and I was talking to Jeff, right, who you guys had up here, and he was part of the team that made, like, Crash and Backfire.
Wait, seriously?
All the old Modern Warfare 2
So some of your
high-rise,
favorite maps.
Some of the favorite maps was that guy up
and
here.
he just came back to the team for this title, right?
Right, yeah. So this is a guy that,
we're in good hands.
He creates some Call of Duty classics.
That makes me even more excited than I already was. But this will be the next map, and we're on with the 6'8" gaming phenom
unit.
Dr. Disrespect.
I'm expecting big things from Duck.
I don't know how he plays with those shades on. I don't understand.
It's impressive.
What do you mean?
They're not real. They're
He's
CGI.
got like some infrared technology. He's talked about it before. Like, come on, man.
Good point.
Like, this,
good
it
point.
helps him out.
You're right, Joe. You're right.
Oh, he's behind a couple.
I'm sure about accuracy like that though.
So he's just getting warmed up.
That's true.
Listen, you can't be judging people's accuracy, all right?
I definitely can. I was frying everyone yesterday.
Now we're lying up here.
See that lean?
Listen, TP's bait.
Yeah, no, I know. That's my permanent job. I'm okay with it. I've accepted it.
Ooh, nice
all right. All right.
Doc on Hutch.
The best part is Hutch just sat right in front of his That was just one of those like,
sorry, Hutch.
That wasn't pretty.
He can't hear you.
Well, to be fair, Hutch did get put in last second. I think he had to fill in for someone, so he got here last minute. Maybe he's just warming up, getting into the flow.
Oh, Jack's also in this game.
So Jack's got the MP5. So when we go to Jack's point of view, that'll be a lot of fun to see how he plays with that MP5. Because I'm telling you, that thing is nasty.
It's really powerful. I know you two.
You put that stock on there, you can strafe so fast, and it just looks insane from the player's point of view. And
I just
realized be so quick with MP5. It's awesome.
Is Katarga and Jack on the same team? I'm pretty sure they are. That's going to be a pretty powerful team with Duck as well.
I saw the bracket for just a second. I think I saw a couple of the teams, but if it is where people are sitting together, it'll be interesting. I think Shroud and Skadoodle are sat next to each other in a pod.
You got Duck and Jack.
Yeah, so if that's how it works out, I'm not sure if it's randomized or how to play out.
Here's the MP5, right? This is the gun that you guys were talking about, and just how strong this really is.
It reminds me all the way back to Call of Duty 4. That MP5 was kind of the main sub that a lot of people like to use, and that's one of my favorite submachine guns of all time.
There you go. Yeah, you see those stopping power rounds right there. Like that just comes through with a nice little hip fire for Jack. But it just feels like when I used it, it was good from like short to medium range, right? Like I know a lot of sub players are looking for one of those slower rate of fire weapons that you can have a nice fight with an assault rifle from medium range, and that MP5 can definitely do it.
So you can change it up, right? Depending on your attachments, you can make it better from range, and you can make it kind of just really good up close. So you have a lot of customization options to make it how you want.
Also worth mentioning, you talked a little bit about the stopping power ammo. That's of course the field upgrade.
Yep.
Couple of choices there. So
it's absurd. I think what was it yesterday? I think Nameless got first shot at me, and I just popped the stopping power, and he goes, "What just killed me?" I just smoked him. So that'll definitely have an influence on the map. That nade is in your back pocket, pal.
Unlucky. Close.
It's okay. He's going to spawn up with 2 missiles in his kill streak, so maybe see him call these in. And the stopping power rounds available now as well. Seems like that's kind of a favorite for that.
The stopping power rounds? Yeah. They're just really strong.
Yeah,
the shield's pretty good too. A lot of powerful field upgrades, that's for sure. It's funny seeing players when they get their streaks. It's almost as if they're so tunnel vision now. Just on, let me just play the game. Let me just focus in. Let me try and get a couple of kills. Almost forget that you have them.
Whoa, shot was shaky, but finally they got the headshot. Yeah, I need to see these streaks get involved.
Oh man.
Well, Mikkel was a triple, I think, just came in. We got to play this map a decent amount. Nameless, I know you were scared to come in the cave because I was just dominating you.
Yeah, and then there was one point where I got up top and I just didn't move. Mounted my gun.
You're dominant. Or what game mode did we play on? I think we played on what was it? It was.
I think we were playing Hardpoint, weren't we, when we played this?
It was a ton of fun on this map, that's for sure. But we'll change perspective. Take a look at Mikolo.
Gataga's 12-3 right now going on.
Honestly, as soon as I saw Gataga was going to be here, I was like, yeah, that's a guy who I just know is going to dominate. Another former competitive Call of Duty guy. You just kind of know.
Yeah, but he's always been really good at, like, I don't know, just like finding power positions early on, like putting up big numbers. He was always a flashy player. Like, that's what he was just known for, right? And still is. Like, he's just so flashy. He knows how to put up numbers.
It's something that might just play to his ability, especially with it being kill streaks now.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. You just post up and he can get a ton of kills for you in not a lot of time. That's when you can expect him to rain down and dominate. Basically, kind of what we saw from TP in Game 1 is almost what you'd expect to see from Gataga here in Game 2.
What were they hit with at the HUD? Is
maybe a counter UAV?
It could be. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I wasn't sure if it was like a tactical or if they were hit with a counter UAV.
You just change perspective there? Yeah, here's Gataga. This is what I want to see. What is he rocking?
He's got the M4.
Okay.
We've seen a lot of M4 today.
That's what a lot of us were using yesterday for the most part.
You know
it
why?
seems like your starter kind of comfort AR.
I was gonna say it's one of those traditional weapons, right? You know what you're gonna get out of there.
It's also very good.
There is that too. That is very true. And of course, you can always go over to the customize things up a little bit. But here is Gataga's perspective. That's his second kill in a row. And what streaks did he put on? It looks like he's gone pretty high here. He's not going low. The radar is going to be the first, but as he progresses through, honestly, you expect again just a ton of kills to come through.
And we see he picks up that personal radar, and that's what TP was talking about in that interview. Is that he had that on, and he would go on like a 3 or 4 kill streak. He'd call on that personal radar, and that mini map would pop up and notify you where things were on the map.
And hey, just one quick reminder while we're in the middle of this game, because we've been talking a lot about the beta. Just to clarify, you have to pre-order for early access to get to the open beta. So pre-order now. We talked about the Dark Edition being available in case you missed that earlier, the night vision goggles, all the crazy stuff that comes with that, the skins in-game.
Limited, right, as well?
Yes. So, and I believe you can do that at CallOfDuty.com. So get your pre-order in if you want to be part of the open beta, if you want to play against the group here up on the desk. You've got the chance to do that, as well as a lot of these streamers. I'm sure they're going to be putting in time with the beta, but we are in our second map of our 4 6v6s that are going to be played. Then we have the 10v10, the 20v20, the 2v2 gunfight bracket that's going to go down. So a ton of action. I know there's been a public cry to see a lot more of multiplayer. You got what, a 3-minute trailer of all the action. You get 3 or so hours of gameplay today. So much to show.
20 and 4. Uncontested, man.
The 20 of their 75.
20 and 10. He got 4 assists. He died 10 times.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Jack went 19 and 3.
Yeah, it's actually Courage that was.
All right, Jack.
Yeah.
The Doc had 4 kills. I was expecting more. Expecting more of him.
Wait, Doc had 4.
4 and 8.
He had 4 kills.
Double neg.
He was
That's all right. His team won, right? W.
Yeah.
That's what the Doc's about, getting W's.
That's the mentality I have to keep. As long as you win, Joe.
I feel like Doc, if anyone, is probably a team player, right?
Yeah. It's the way you guys not. No, probably not. Probably not at all.
Probably
playing for the win.
Well, they got the win, so.
Yeah, so what we've seen domination. We've now seen TDM. We'll keep kind of ripping through these, but so far it's been awesome to see some of the gameplay, the different guns these guys are using. I'm hoping as we get further into this, we'll see more of the field upgrades being used. The field orders being used. A lot more of the kill streaks as guys sort of get comfortable with the controls and get into it.
It's interesting seeing a lot of these players who we kind of know so much. You know, you watch a lot of these guys' streams. You know their individual play styles and just how the game can really adapt to whatever your play style is. Like, for example, you guys, you're always going to be more aggressive than me and Clip, but the game works both ways.
Yeah, I think that too, and then how they sort of change their weapons as time goes on, right? Right now, people are just trying to put on a show, like Jack's doing with the MP5, like your Gataga is doing with the M4. As you know, we get into an hour or so, they're going to try out the different snipers, try out all these different crazy weapon attachments. It's going to be fun, because you know later on that's what they're going to try to do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe. But before we do hop into the next 6v6, we've got Christine Leahy on the floor with Miss Vixen.
Yes, I have Miss Vixen here. So I was just standing here watching you play. I think you might be one of the most vocal players out here. Does that help you in your game?
Relieve stress in a way. You know, you just got to be vocal about it, communicate with your team, obviously. So yeah, it helps a lot.
So you told me this game wasn't exactly your best, but the one before was great. Yeah. What do you think of the game so far?
I actually really love it. I like my favorite thing is probably the decoys in there. They brought that in there, so it's easy to distract the enemy. They think that you're in one area and then you just rotate around them. So it helps being like more strategic and going around the map. So, But there's a few other like perks in there that I'm still like trying to tweak and figure out how to use them with certain guns. But so far, I love it.
Okay, so this next one, then you're gonna win.
I got this. Search and Destroy, I was awesome. Team Deathmatch was a little bit of a struggle because I didn't know the map, but this next one I'm sure for sure gonna dominate.
I have faith in you. Maven, back over to you.
Thank you so much. All right, so awesome to hear. I know I am very, very vocal, and it is a stress reliever. When I'm playing, I want to scream, I want to get loud, I want to let people know I dominated them, and when I get killed, there's an excuse every single time that I like to utter. But no, I like that. You got to have some passion, man.
Every time you die, you ask for a clip to rewatch it to make sure that actually happens.
Can you clip that? Can you clip that? How'd he kill me?
Clip it! It's either that or you blaming Copper, so.
I have a German short hair pointer that is very high energy, and at times he literally rips my headphones off and jumps on my back, pulls my controller out of my hand. Those are valid excuses, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, he just thinks they're chew toys. So.
He does.
Great toys.
We have not done a good job training him at all, but I love him very much. We haven't done a good. I just give him treats.
Okay.
I just buy him toys constantly. It's all I do. Half of my money is spent on dog toys.
It's a well looked after pup. And that's what matters.
That is true.
And that's
that
what
is
matters.
true. I believe we're just kind of waiting on the other 6v6 because we got a couple pods going down. We mentioned there's 36 streamers here. So one of the games has ended. We're waiting for the other one to wrap up before we get into our next map and mode as we continue through.
Well, before we jump to the next game, I think it was what? Dr. Disrespect, you said went 4-8, right?
Oh.
Pretty poor performance. And I see Censor's getting ready to talk to the Doc himself. Doug, you got to find out what happened to the Doc in that last game.
Yeah, so I'm live right now at the two-time Blockbuster champion, the one and only, the